Just talk from some notes. You've been given a release with more of the details that you can refer to. But first of all, I want to thank you for coming. This advisory is a time for us to finally share a little more details about where we are in the stadium reinvention. So we're excited to be able to let you know that Phase 1 is very near completion, and we're excited about that. And we'll also talk a little bit about where we are in our fundraising, which is a positive story for us. So with regard to question and answers at the end, if you have any real technical questions, we will be able to accommodate intelligent answers to that, because we have Bruce Jensen here, who is one of our managers of the construction projects. He will be able to get you any real technical details that you might need. And also want to introduce you to our Council of Presidents. So one of the things that was real important to us was that students came first in this project, and I think we've been able to deliver very well on that. So our Council of Presidents are here with us, and so if you guys would stand and be recognized: Stephanie Bockrath from West, Eric Fraser from Poly, Isaac Miller from Tempe, Karina Tapscott from downtown, and then we have Pauline Veneris, who represents our graduate students. So the students have, thank you guys and welcome. The students have been a big part of this project, and certainly their input has been very informative. So they will also be on the tour, and so if anyone has any questions specifically for our students, you might direct them to our Council of President members here today. No question about it, we're excited. One of the things that was most important, again, was students first. So when you see the tour, what you will be able to see is, in fact, Phase 1, which is part of our Double Inferno. There are a lot of upgrades to that area. A lot of the overall upgrades for fans are things behind the scenes, which Bruce can attest to. New plumbing, electrical, etc. So the fan experience overall, more concessions, more restrooms, will be something that we will enjoy long term. But certainly starting with the students was important to us. So when you go out, enjoy your tour, ask all the questions you want. One of the things we're most excited about, as well, is that we're very ADA compliant. In the construction on the southeast and southwest, construction has upgraded to be ADA compliant, as well as on some of the new lower main concourse construction has also accommodated additional ADA seating. So we are right in line with what we need to do for our community. In terms of fundraising, as you know, $85 million of this project was to be raised through donations and ultimately through premium suites and seat sales. There is no student tuition or student fee money going to this project. There is no taxpayer money going to this project. So of that $85 million, we're 1/3 of the way through the project, and at $45.3 million, we are already more than halfway to our stated goal of $85 million. That's the result of tremendous work and effort on behalf of our team of Sun Devil Club and Arizona State University Foundation members out really selling the vision. We're fortunate that folks have responded very positively to where we're going with this reinvention. So at $45.3 million, we are more than halfway there. What that means is that we have another $40+ million to go. And we are very enthusiastic and encouraged and, very frankly, confident that as we reach out to additional Sun Devil athletic folks who really have an affinity for this overall program and certainly for our football, that we will meet and, in fact, exceed our goals as we go forward very aggressively, very energetically, very strategically over the course of the next 2 years. I'll put it out there. My personal goal is to have the fundraising completed by the end of 2016 season. So when we go into 17, we will be complete and then soaring past that goal, because that means we will have additional opportunity to invest in our programs to benefit our student athletes in all the right ways. So we'll be moving aggressively toward fulfilling our fundraising goals. We feel really good about it, and we thank everyone in the room who has been part of that process and will be part of that ongoing process. So we'll go to Q&A, and then we will then take you on a tour of the Phase 1, which makes us really excited about kicking off this weekend at home with our Double Inferno to be debuted.
Just want to make sure I have it, sir. Can I get you to give me your name and title on the tape? I'm not sure I got it at the beginning.
I don't think you did. My name is Ray Anderson. I'm the athletic director and vice president of University Athletics.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I have a question. What are the biggest impacts going to be for all the people who use the stadium, whether it's athletes or visitors?
Well, it's going to be an upgraded experience. One of the things that we really want to drive to is you got to upgrade the game day experience with amenities, which includes more of the accoutrements like more concessions, better restrooms, better ingress, egress, technology, all the things that will convince you to come to the stadium instead of staying at home. Updated scoreboards, LED boards, just a variety of things in-house that you can't get at home. At some point, there will be customized apps that only those in the stadium will be able to enjoy some of the things that is happening in time contemporaneously as the game goes on. So it's one of the things that new stadiums, frankly, are challenged to do. You've got to do it if you want to drive folks to your arena as opposed to staying home and enjoying it in the comforts of home.
Ray, over here. Sorry.
Hi, Paula.
Hey, Ray, the $45.3 million you mentioned, I wondered if you could expand a little bit on it. Were there any sort of large private donations that you can announce, or has it been a collection, or?
It's been a combination. There certainly are some key folks who have made some very generous donations at their directions. We are keeping their names private for now. Certainly at some point we will very enthusiastically give them credit. But we've also had a number of folks step up at the coaches club level and a variety of levels, Paula, that have gotten us there. So that what's important for folks to understand is that every dollar contributed toward the project is important. So if it's $10 or $100 or $100,000 or $500,000, if it's within your means and you can contribute, it really does make an impact. So we will be reaching out to folks at every level to say, you know, come be a stakeholder, come take an ownership interest at whatever level you're able to. They all count. They're all very important.
My question is, do you see the state-of-the-art facility as a tool for future recruitment and prospect athletes here at the university?
There's no question about it. Part of what we want to do is we want to have facilities that will entice the best student athletes in all sports to want to come to Arizona State University. So we're not going to be luxurious, we're not going to be extravagant, but we want to have a facility here represented by this reinvention that really states what we've been saying, which is we want to be an elite top 5 program, we want to win championships, and very frankly, student athletes who have choices want to see if you've actually invested in that, because where they study, where they train, where they do a lot of their work does matter in terms of being able to assure them that their environment will be robust and elite. So this will help us in that regard tremendously. In addition to that, we've said this before, the vision here is that this reinvented venue will be much more than just a football venue. We have groups, and I'm saying groups because we're getting a lot of input to say, well, how do we design and construct this venue so that it really has multi-purpose usage, academic usage, student uses, community uses. So in fact, that upgraded facility will not just help us recruit student athletes, but in fact, it will help us attract folks who never thought of playing collegiate athletes to come here, because we've committed investment dollars to make their overall experience here really, really top notch.
Ray, you mentioned earlier no taxpayer money, no student tuition going toward this project. That it's a hot button issue these days, publicly funded stadiums. Can you talk about the thought process behind that, how early you identified that as being a goal and why it's important to you?
Well, it's important because the fact of the matter, Craig, is, and we're in an environment where public funds for what some people think might be luxury, you're just not going to get them in this day and time. So in order to do that, then you go out and essentially pay for it yourself. We've got bonds, which is, is like taking out a mortgage on your house. You're going to have to pay it back. And then you have to come up with what amounts to the down payment, which for us is at $85 million, and you figure that out on your own. So it's important to know that we're doing this because it's the right thing for us, but we're also going to do it without putting a burden on our students or putting a burden on our taxpayers, and that is driven by President Crow and the state of our reality. The good news is that despite those challenges, we're getting it done, and did it done in a very, very high-quality way.
How will the experience be different for students on game day specifically?
Well, the students will be able to speak for themselves. We had the pleasure a week or so ago of going through a tour with the Council of Presidents, and I think what they'll tell you is that the amenities for the students, the private exits and entrances, the dedicated restrooms and concessions, basically a student lounge area, is pretty cool from what they've told me, and you might be able to ask them. But I think what it will provide them is their own area, two areas, north and the south end zone, that is really an upgraded experience. All the student tickets are in the lower bowl. Isaac pointed that out to me the other day with some enthusiasm, and that's pretty unique. So I think the upgrades for the students will be really high profile, but I'll actually defer the final outcome and the final judgment to them because they're going to experience it for the first time this weekend, and maybe you'll talk to them afterwards and they'll give you their impressions from their tour last week. They were pretty positive. Yes?
You mentioned this weekend, the game coming up. What tips do you have for fans coming into the stadium with all the new construction? What things do they need to know about as they head for the game this weekend?
Yeah, I appreciate the question because it's very important. First of all, you got to have patience. If anyone's gone through a renovation of their house or anything major and you're going to live in it and live through it, then you know there's going to be some inconveniences. So what you have to do is be a partner with us in the project, which means be patient, come early, make sure that you go online because we're making real efforts to make sure that you can go online and see the best routing to and from your seats. So that would be the number one thing we ask, is patience. Understand that our vision is when we deliver this thing final in 2017, it's going to be a really fabulous place to come and spend not just Saturday afternoons, but a whole bunch of other days of your year. But while we're getting there, you need to be patient with us. So come early and go online and make sure you get the best routing for your seating.
But I mean, can you tell us right now, can you give us any specific, what exit or entrance they need to come in, or parking tips, anything like that?
A lot of that will be online. We will, first of all, the north entry will be like it was last year. There is no change there. So we would push as many people to come into the north entrances as possible. But we do have a new entrance off of College Avenue, and then the southeast and southwest. And it all depends, very frankly, on where your seating is. So go online, and we have, we think, very good maps and directions to get you there. And then there will be directional signage to get you there, live attendance to direct you. So if you come early and go online and do a little prep before you come, I think you'll get to and fro in pretty good shape. But thank you for the question.
Ray, another one over here. You're over halfway to your goal. What's your game plan to close the deal?
To just keep aggressively and strategically going out there, articulating the message that this is for everybody. This isn't a football renovation. This is a reinvented stadium that will serve a lot of purposes. Folks need to understand that that is, in fact, our vision. That's what we're doing. And Craig, one of the things that has been most really gratifying as we've gone through this is that people understand and believe that that's exactly what we're doing. And so our vision is to keep articulating that and getting people enticed. The fact that we're halfway through in only a year is a real tribute to what our sales people are doing and what our donor folks are doing and what our development folks are doing. But I think it's also indicative of the kind of the new belief in and around this valley that this is real. This isn't a false start. This isn't a giant that wants to continue to sleep. You know, we're up, we're active, we're running around the valley, and we're going to get it done. And people believe that, Craig. So we'll get to the number and, very frankly, beyond it because it's the right thing to do, and people want to be part of what's right for their community. I believe that.
Ray, Washington just completed a naming rights deal with Alaska Airlines. Can you tell us where you're at in the naming rights part of this, and if you think that you can get anywhere close to the number that they were able to get?
Well, Greg McElroy, if he's in the room, he should know that we have higher expectations than ever, and very seriously. Our value proposition, we believe, is as significant, certainly, as anybody in the Pac-12. I'll tell you that unequivocally. In terms of the process, we are going through a deliberate thought process as to who potential name rights folks would be, and we are going through that process. In terms of the timing, Jeff, can't pinpoint it. The stadium won't open in its full version until 2017, so certainly we have some time. But we like and applaud what Washington has done. Scott Woodward, my AD compatriot up there, I think they've done a fabulous job. But I think they also, what's happening up there, reflect the realization that college athletics and certainly football is a good place for folks to invest their money. And I think the Alaska Airline folks up there have demonstrated that. So we will be enthusiastic, not just hopeful, but enthusiastic that folks will see value down here as part of Sun Devil Nation that will also encourage them to contribute significantly when it comes to naming rights. Anybody else?
I have one more. Can you just talk about that now we're the stadium, the athletic stadium district is getting up and going now. Can you just talk about that piece of it as it relates to where you're at right now with the stadium?
The athletic facilities district is just really getting into its master planning, so that they're separate projects, Jeff, but certainly connected in that as the athletic facilities district moves along, then, you know, the practice fields and the bubble location will change, and the hope is to bring those proximity-wise closer to the reinvented stadium. So in that regard, they're connected. But in terms of how they're ultimately connected, when we essentially have revenue streams from the athletic facilities district, they will help us pay down that mortgage or that bond debt on the stadium, and it was designed and intended for that. So when that will start to produce revenue to help us do that is still to be determined. Certainly, we would hope sooner than later. But it will move along, we think, also very aggressively and enthusiastically once people really get their hands around what it means and what it's intended to do.